विघ्नहरण गौरी के नंदन, सुमिरे सदा सुखदाई रे। तुलसीदास जो गणपति सुमिरे, कोटि विघ्न टल जाई रे। वेद पुराण कथा से पहले जो सुमिरे सुखदाई रे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि लक्ष्मी, मन ही चाह फलदाई रे। सुखवरन प्रभु नारायण है, दुख हरन प्रभु नारायण है। त्रिलोकपति दाता सुखधाम, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम प्रभु, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। त्रिलोकपति दाता सुखधाम, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम प्रभु, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। मन वाणी में वो शक्ति कहा जो, महिमा तुम्हारी ज्ञान करे है। अगमय गोचर अधिकारी, निर्लेप हरे शक्ति परे। हम और तो कुछ भी ज्ञाने ना, केवल गाते हैं पावन नाम। स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम प्रभु, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। आदि मध्य और अंत तुम ही, और तुम ही आत्मदारे हो। भक्तों के तुम प्राण प्रभु, इस जीवन के रखवारे हो। तुम में जीवे जन्मे तुमने, और अंत करे तुमने विश्राम। स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम प्रभु, स्वीकारो मेरे प्रणाम। त्रिलोकपति दाता सुखधाम,
Sitaram devotees, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang live from the Americas Sivarsham Sangha with our Revered Swamiji, Swami Shiveshwanandaji Maharaj. We have just listened to by Anu. We will have one more bhajan before we listen to our Revered Swamiji. I will ask Bain Lisa to lead us in the next bhajan.
मैं तो श्यामल की मतवारी, मैं तो श्यामल की मतवारी, गुन गाओ एक तारी, श्यामल की मतवारी, मैं तो श्यामल की
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that wonderful bhajan. Devotees and friends, before we listen to Revered Swamiji, Swami Shiveshwanandaji Maharaj for a live presentation from the Americas Sivarsham Sangha, we will ask the Kirtan group to lead us in the Ramayana Samiran.
Shri Guru Charan Saro जर जा निज मन मुकुर सुरा निज मन मुकुर सुरा वर नो रघुवर विमल जसो जो दायक फल वीरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या दे हर हो गणेश विकार सिया वर रामचंद्र की जय शरणम जो सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक करे वर ग्रहणम करु अनुग्रह सो बुद्धि राशि शुभ गुण शरणम मोक्ष होई वाचा पंगु चरे गिरिगर गणम जासु कृपा सुदया जवन सकल कलिमल दहम नील सरोरहुषा करुणारुण वाणिज नयनम करु सो मम उर्धा सदा शिर सागर सनम कुंद इंदु समदे कुमार मन करुणा जाए दिया परने करो कृपा मर्दन मरणम वंदो गुरु परकन कृपा सिंधु नर रूप हरि महामोहतम पुंज जासु वचन रवि कर निकरा जासु वचन रवि कर निकरा जासु वचन रवि कर निकरा.
On this very beautiful Sunday morning, I would like to say welcome to all of you in Sitaram. I would like to welcome you to our online satsang. I always forget at the end to give credit to our wonderful musicians, so I thought I'll do that first of all before I delve into my katha. I would like to thank Bhaiji Vijay Bisram, multi-talented devotee of the ashram, who is chairing the satsang and also live streaming. Bahin Ray Bisram, his Dharmpatni. Bhaiji Anu Bishu. Bahin Lisa Naipal. Bhaiji Nick Tribuan. Bhaiji Varun Bisram. I would also like to thank our kitchen staff, Bahin Priya Tribuan and Auntie Nanda. And I would like to recognize the presence of Bahin Deandra Shunarain and Bhaiji Lekram Balkaran, two of our executive members. Devotees, my katha this morning is taken from Uttarakhand of the Ramcharitmanas. The word Uttar means answers. It is that Khand, that chapter of Ramcharitmanas in which we can find answers to many of life's questions. And so my topic this morning is reincarnation, myth or truth, the story of Kagbushundi. In this Chaupai, Tulsidas writes,
O Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Rama Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai
त्रिजगा देव नर जोई तनु धरऊ टह टह राम भजन अनुसरऊ
राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम
एक सूल मोहि बिसर न काऊ गुर कर कोमला शील स्वभाव
राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम जय जय राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम
I've had people from other faiths challenge me to prove that we've lived before, because according to their faith, we only live once. There is no reincarnation, and we either go to heaven or to hell for eternity. The truth is, we have all lived before. We've lived many lives before. Or else, how else can we explain the fact that even though we have a God who is fair, who is merciful, who treats all his children equally, yet we have some are born healthy and some are born deformed. Some are born in wealthy homes, while others are born in abject poverty. If you were not born before, then God will be unfair to make such inequalities happen. The circumstances we are born in are determined by our karma from previous lives. So here Bhushundi relates to Garud, his previous lives, because from his perspective as Bhushundi, having realized God, all his previous lives were revealed to him. And many saints who have realized God have said the same thing, that they have remembered many, if not all of their past lives. One great master said he remembered from the time he existed as minerals, as rocks. Can you imagine that? We had to evolve through millions of births before being given this human body for the first time. So Bhushundi, in that birth, was a devotee of Lord Shiva. But he was very arrogant and filled with pride. His guru was also a devotee of Lord Shiva. God realized so. But Bhushundi, that life, while he was a devotee of Lord Shiva, he hated Lord Vishnu. He did not want to hear anything about Lord Vishnu. His guru tried to admonish him, to tell him, boy, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva are both manifestations of the Lord, the Supreme Being. But when his guru would tell him that, he would argue with his guru. And he would tell his guru that he was wrong. He was so puffed up with pride, he described himself like a snake fed with milk. So puffed up with pride one day that he was sitting in the Shiva Mandir, pretending to chant the name of Lord Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. When his guru entered the mandir, he refused to show any regard or acknowledgement to his guru, sitting there without acknowledging his guru's presence. His guru did not say anything. But Lord Shiva himself became very angry and gave him strap that since he sat there like a snake, he would become a snake. When his guru heard those words from Lord Shiva, the kind-hearted guru pleaded with the Lord, Lord, this boy is stupid and ignorant. Please have compassion on him. Please don't be so harsh with him. And so Lord Shiva, moved by the soulful plea of the guru, relented and said, I cannot take back my curse, but I can soften it this way. That he will take birth as a snake, but he would have his human understanding. And he will pass through many births, but effortlessly will drop each body without any pain. He will still retain his human understanding until he develops true devotion to God. So Bhushundi says, driven by the doom decree, I went to Vindhya mountains and was reborn as a serpent. And again, after some time, dropped the form without the least effort. Whatever form I assumed, O monk of Hari, O Gaduru, I dropped again with the utmost ease, like a man who takes off his old clothes and puts on new ones. Thus, Lord Shiva vindicated the Vedic ordinances, and I suffered no pain. In this manner, O King of Births, I assumed various forms, but never did my understanding leave me. So, Bhushundi became a snake in his next life, according to the curse of Lord Shiva. And then he passed through many births as animals, as humans. Many births he had to pass through. Some people query this. Is it possible for a human being to be reborn as an animal? I remember many years ago when Swami Purnananda Ji was in Guyana. He was reading a yajna. When it was question and answer time, he asked the audience if they had any questions for him. And one person said, I know of a boy who regularly kicks his mother. Would he be reborn as a donkey? And Swami Purnananda Ji answered, he's already a donkey. He only has to change his form. Because he was exhibiting the qualities of an animal. And so only in an animal body can we have full freedom to express those lower qualities. And we see here Bhushundi is saying that he was reborn from snake to animals to humans. Many births he took. Whatever form I assumed, whether brute, that is animal, or divine or human, are retained during the practice of worshipping Ram. But one thing ever stung my conscience, the remembrance of the Guru's tender and amiable disposition. I read a book by a noted Western psychotherapist, Dr. Brian Weiss. The book is called Same Soul, Many Bodies. And sometimes in his search for answers from subjects who would visit him, patients who would visit him because of some problems in their lives, he will take them back through hypnotism to past lives. At first, it was a shock to him that people could go back to past lives, but with time, he understood that yes, we were born many times before. And one subject described a previous life where he was a cruel warlord. He used to plunder villages, and he would burn the villages after plundering the women, killing the men, and killing the innocent children. And then he related a birth after that, when he was born as a human being. He was in a closed apartment when a fire broke out and he was burnt alive. He described how painful a death it was. That he started burning from his feet and the fire slowly spread towards his head. And he was conscious up to that point where his head started to burn. So much pain he was experiencing. And then he understood why he had to go through that life of suffering. Bushundi says that one thing ever pricked his conscience, his rudeness to his kind-hearted guru, and the more we develop spiritually, the more we will recognize our errors, and the more our conscience will prick us whenever we make an error, even if it is a small one. Finally, I was born in the form of a Brahman, a form which, as the Vedas and Puranas declare, even the gods find hard to attain, find difficult to attain. In that birth, this birth of a Brahman that Bushundi achieved after many, many rebirths, he was a devotee of Sri Ram, an incarnation of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. And I pause here because this is so important. Remember, in that life when he was cursed by Lord Shiva, he hated Lord Vishnu. And after many, many births of evolution, he has reached that stage where now he was worshipping Lord Vishnu in the form of Ram. And we need to take heed, because if we hate someone and we don't resolve that hatred in this life, then we have to come back again and again, sometimes in reverse roles, until that hatred is resolved. Only then we are free to move on. And that is why we must not hate anyone so deeply that we cannot stand them. Even if the person hates us, we should not return hate. It's not an easy thing to do. I know from personal experience. Sometimes we're so hurt by others, their behavior, and their cruelty, that we cannot possibly think we can forgive them. But we have to. Resolution of hatred doesn't mean I have to go and suffer hatred from that person, telling him how much or her how much I'm sorry. It is mental. From my end, my friend, no matter how much you hate me, no matter how much you want to hurt me, I do not hate you. I do not want to hurt you. When we do that, we are freed from that relationship, and that person will not come back in a next life to haunt us through that hateful behavior. We see that here, that Bushundi in that previous life hated Lord Vishnu, but he had to come back after many, many births to love Lord Vishnu by worshipping Sri Ram. It is a very profound lesson that we can all learn. In this next Chaupai, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Rama.
प्रौढ भये मोहि पिता पढ़ावा
समझाओ सुनाओ गुनाओ गही बाबा प्रौढ़ाबाए मोहि पिता पढ़ावा समझाओ सुनाओ गानो नहीं भावा
श्री राम जय जय राम
मानते सकल वासना भागी मानते सकल वासना भागी केवल राम चरण लय लागी
श्री राम जय जय राम 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 श्री राम जय जय राम.
So in that birth where he was a Brahmin, where he had devotion for Sri Ram, when I grew up, my father gave me lessons in secular subjects. But though I tried to understand things and listen to his lessons and turn them over in my mind, they failed to attract me. Prauda bae mohi pita padhava samujao sunao gunao nahi bhava. Because he was now in a high state of spiritual evolution, these worldly things that his father wanted him to seek did not appeal to him. They were not attractive to him. See the difference between Bhushundi in that birth and many in our world today, where worldly things are very attractive. So much so that God fades into the background. But for Bhushundi, nothing else mattered. Nothing in this world, no matter how valuable it seemed to others, nothing mattered to him except worshiping God. I remember in a similar context, not that I'm trying to compare myself to Bhushundi, can never compare myself, but I remember having a similar kind of experience when I was in college during my final year. It was just a few more months to graduation, where I suddenly felt, I asked myself the question, why am I doing this? What am I going to do with this degree? Because I wanted to become a monk. It felt like a waste of time. I was so bothered that I asked Swami Purnanandaji Maharaj what I should do, whether I should complete my degree. And he told me that the choice was mine, but he also told me that if you complete your degree and you take to a life of renunciation, then others will not accuse you of running away from studies, of being a coward. That is why you ran away and you became a monk, because you couldn't succeed academically. On the other hand, if you finish your degree and you become a monk, then it might be something of an inspiration to younger boys that yes, he had a path to academic excellence, but there must be something else. That is why he gave that up. Remember also, like Bhushundi's father in that life, my father had so many grand plans for me, as fathers and mothers have for their children, and I felt so bad to disappoint them. That my dad wanted me to be a doctor or an engineer at least. But I had to disappoint them in that way because those things didn't appeal to me so much. Because I kept asking myself, if I become a doctor or an engineer and I die the next day, what's the use? So Bhushundi says, in that birth, my father was giving me more and more lessons in worldly things, worldly knowledge. I listened to him. But when I tried to examine his arguments, they were not attractive to me. Sometimes we are afraid to give spiritual life a try because, as Arjuna said in Bhagavad Gita, Lord, if I practice yoga but yet fail to attain moksha, won't I be a double loser? I would lose out on sensual enjoyments, and I would have failed to attain the spiritual goal. I would lose both ways. Is that true, Lord? But Lord Krishna answered, O Arjuna, no, absolutely not. Whatever spiritual level is reached in a particular birth, when we are reborn, we quickly re-attain this spiritual level and then evolve from there. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost, so we should not be afraid that even if we do not find God in this life, when we are reborn, whatever level we have reached, and through our meditation and sadhana, we'll continue from there. Yogi Ramaya, a great saint, a disciple of Raman Maharishi, was a great master. He was born in a rich family. He acquired a lot of wealth when he was quite young. He said he could have enjoyed life. He had so many friends, but those things did not appeal to him. He sought Guru Diksha from a master. And when he was given the mantra, the Rama mantra, his Guru told him, repeat this mantra 5,000 times every day. He asked his Guru, suppose Guru Deva repeated it more than 5,000 times. His Guru said, all the better. And suppose I repeat it all the time. His Guru was amazed at this young boy. Usually, a young man about 18 years old is not interested in sadhana. The bright lights of the world will draw him. But this young boy was saying, Gurudev, you're telling me do this, but if I want to do more, what would happen? And his Guru was encouraging him. And he left home and he wanted to go into the Dandak forest to practice sadhana, but his Guru said, no, don't go into the forest because it is dangerous to go into the Dandak forest. I want you to find a quiet place in your home, a secluded spot, that is your cave. And there you practice sadhana. His thirst for spiritual advancement was so great that he became one of the greatest masters. Paramahansa Yogananda describes him in his autobiography of a yogi. So worldly things had little attraction for Bhushundi in his life as a Brahmin. He was deeply absorbed in thoughts of God. We read also from our scriptures, Nar and Narayan, their father, the king, wanted them. One of them, first he appealed to Nar. I think Nar was the elder brother. My son, I want to give you the kingship of my country and I want to retire to worship my Lord Shiva. But Nar said, Father, no, I don't want the kingdom. Give it to my younger brother, Narayan. Narayan said, no, Father, I don't want the kingdom, because both of them used to see their father, the king, used to worship Lord Shiva but since they were very small. And they had developed that habit of getting up early in the morning and japping the name of Lord Shiva. And they had reached very, very high spiritual states. Can we imagine a kingdom being handed to us and we turn away from it? We'd grab it with both hands. Look what is happening in Guyana, where people are so drunk with power they don't want to give it up. Nar and Narayan, two young boys, they were fighting not to accept power, not to accept the throne, because that meant very little to them. They only wanted Lord Shiva, they only wanted God. So the point of spiritual evolution, point of spiritual development, only God matters. Only God mattered to Bhushundi. Nothing else mattered. Nothing else appealed to him. Siddhartha Gautama, even though his father tried to keep him away from all worldly sufferings, so that he will not see what life's reality was, when he saw, when his father was out and he asked the charioteer to take him to see the city, when he went out, he saw an old man. He never saw an old man before. He asked the charioteer, "Oh charioteer, who is that?" "It's an old man." Siddhartha asked, "Would I also become old one day?" And the charioteer said, "Yes, my prince, everyone becomes old with time." He saw a hunchback woman. "What is that?" "It's a woman. She is deformed." "Can I also become deformed?" "Yes, my prince. Anyone can become deformed anytime." He saw a corpse. "What is that?" "It's a dead body." "Dead body? Would I also become a corpse one day?" "Yes, my prince, all those who are born must die," the charioteer replied. And then he saw a yogi under a tree sitting in deep bliss. "And who is that?" "He's a yogi," the charioteer answered. "He has renounced everything and he's absorbed in God's bliss." And so Siddhartha, even though he was a prince, even though he had all the worldly pleasures in his life, his father got him married when he was pretty young. He had a beautiful son, very handsome son. But now his heart was burning because he had reached that state of spiritual development where nothing could hold him back. He ran away from the kingdom. And the rest is history. He became the great Buddha. So Bhushundi is saying that he had reached that point where worldly things did not matter to him. It was God, God, and only God. In this next chaupai, Tulsidas writes,
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
काहु कगे सस कावन अभागी, काहु कगे सस कावन अभागी। करी सेवा सुर तीनों ही त्यागी, करी सेवा सुर तीनों ही त्यागी।
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
प्रेम मगन मोहि कछु न सोहाई, प्रेम मगन मोहि कछु न सोहाई। आरे ओ पित पढ़ाई पढ़ाई, आरे ओ पित पढ़ाई पढ़ाई।
Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
I'm not saying that anything is wrong with seeking worldly things. I'm not saying anything is wrong with seeking degrees. In fact, I would encourage people to study. Our Guru Maharaj used to do that, to seek degrees and so better oneself academically. But the point here is that at a certain point of our spiritual development, different things matter differently to different people. And so my point here is that Bhushundi had reached this high stage of spirituality where nothing else but God mattered to him. Worldly things were not attractive to him anymore. Nothing else mattered to him but God. Always he was thinking of Sri Ram. Always he was chanting Sri Ram's name. That is what I'm saying. That it depends at which point we are in our spiritual evolution. For the average person, worldly things are necessary. We must seek them. But for those who have decided that they want God and they have reached a high level, then naturally only God will appeal to them. Life is about choices. Ramcharitmanas asks, would you choose a peppercorn instead of a philosopher's stone? A peppercorn, when you try to eat it, will burn your mouth, will cause pain. Would you choose that instead of a philosopher's stone, which can change iron into gold? No, you would not. And yet Tulsidas says, we run away from the philosopher's stone, which is God, who can transform us. And we accept the pains of this world, the peppercorn. Someone said that happiness is just the point between two pains. And pain is the point between two happinesses. Meaning that we can't escape pain. No matter how much we try, it's a world of dualities. With happiness comes pain. But it is our choice what we want. Do we want the philosopher's stone or do we want the peppercorn? Anytime we choose or we want to, we can choose the philosopher's stone. It is up to us. We have free will. Would you choose an entire army instead of a single person, an extraordinary person? Duryodhana chose the Yadava army, whereas Arjuna chose Lord Krishna, even though Lord Krishna would just be his charioteer. He knew why? Because whichever side Krishna was on, that side had to win. Would you choose pride instead of Lord Shiva? No, but Daksha did that. He chose pride and anger instead of Lord Shiva, and he tried to hurt the Lord, and we know how it ended up for him. So Bhushundi asks, tell me, O King of Birds, tell me, O Garud, would anyone be so foolish as to abandon the cow of plenty to serve a she-ass, meaning a donkey? Would you choose a donkey instead of a desire-fulfilling cow, a Surdenu or a Kamdenu? You would not. And Tulsidas is saying that, Bhushundi is saying that, why would you turn away from God who can give you everything that you want and more, while seeking of these things that you think you need in the world, a world which time and time again will disappoint you, because the world cannot give you what you seek, that which will totally satisfy you. The world cannot give you that. Only God can give you that. So would you choose a donkey instead of a desire-fulfilling cow? You would not do that. You will choose the cow. Even Vishwamitra as a king wanted such a cow because Vashisht had the divine cow Kamdenu, and King Vishwamitra was willing to do anything, including attacking the holy sage, to get that cow. And then finally, when he saw the power of Vashishta's yogic strength, absorbing all his weapons. He too decided he wanted to become like Vashisht, to become a Brahmarishi. Where true devotion for God resides, there is little interest in material desires. Nachiketa, as a young boy, was tested by Yamraj. When he asked for divine knowledge, Yamraj said, "What does a little boy like you want with divine knowledge? Your whole life is in front of you. I will give you wealth. I will give you all the pleasures you can think of. Just say yes. I'll give you long life to enjoy them. Just say yes. Don't ask me what becomes of the soul after death. Don't worry about these things, my boy. They are for adult minds." But Nachiketa had reached that level of spirituality where he said, "No, Yamraj, if you give me a long life, I still would have to die. Even if it's 1,000 years, they will come to an end. One day I'll die. And if you give me all the pleasures of this world, when I die, I would have to leave everything behind. No, Yamraj, I want to know what happens to souls after they die." And so he was given that knowledge. We see that the same thing in our Guru Maharaj in his life. Even from a very early age, he was spiritually bent. The world and its attractions could not draw him. He was ever absorbed in meditation and God's bliss. So, Bhushundi says to Garu, "Tell me, O king of birds, would anyone be so foolish as to abandon the cow of plenty to serve a donkey? With my soul flooded with love, I had no charm left for anything, and my father was quite tired of trying to teach me. After a while, my father gave up. Oh, this boy, I'm telling him about all these things he should strive for, but he's showing no interest. So, father just gave up. He's bent on one thing, God, so let me leave him." In this concluding doha, Tulsidas writes,
Bolo Ram, 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 Bolo Ram.
गुर के भजन सुरती करी राम चरण मनुलाग रघुपति जस गावत पेरो चन चन नव अनुराग।
Bolo Ram, 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 Bolo Ram.
गुरु के भजन सुरती करी राम चरण मनुलाग रघुपति जस धावत पेरा चन चन नव अनुराग।
Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Bolo Ram, Ram Ram, Bolo Ram, Ram Ram, Bolo Ram, Ram Ram, Bolo Ram, Ram Ram, Bolo 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 Ram.
the teachings of a God-realized Guru, the blessings of a God-realized Guru travel with us through many, many lifetimes. And here Bhushundi, in this form as a Brahmin boy, he says, "Even as I recall the words of my Guru, my mind conceived a fondness for Sri Ram's feet. He remembered his guru used to admonish him, do not hate Lord Vishnu. And his guru's words had traveled with him through many lifetimes, and now he understood them. Now he had developed great devotion to the feet of Sri Ram, a manifestation of Lord Vishnu. Even as I recall the words of my guru, my mind conceived a fondness for Ram's feet, and I wandered about hymning the praises of Raghunath with a love which every moment grew even greater. Such beautiful words. With a love which every moment grew even greater. Such is the bliss of a true devotee of God. That love for God never ends. That love for God keeps on growing, consuming them until they're merged with God. Dear ones, may this description of Bhushundi's previous lives inspire us to strive to find God with greater intensity, with greater sincerity, with greater longing. May we too, like Bhushundi, find God even in this life. Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Somji, for your wonderful discourse from the Sri Ramcharitmanas. Thank you very much. Again, devotees, I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining our live satsang on this wonderful Sunday morning, live from the Americas Sivarsham Sangha. Devotees will continue with 2 more bhajans before we conclude this morning's satsang. I will ask Bain Ray to lead us in the first bhajan, followed by Bain Lisa.
शिरडी के साईं बाबा तेरे दुहाई बाबा तेरी शरण हम आ गए ओ साईं हमको जन्म जन्म का फल पा गए शिरडी के साईं बाबा तेरे दुहाई बाबा तेरी शरण हम आ गए ओ
Thank you very much, Ben Ray. Devotees, again, I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining our live satsang. Please do remember to join us next Sunday, promptly at 10 a.m. for another edition of our Sunday morning satsang, live from the Americas Varsham Sangha with Swami Shiveshwarananda Ji Maharaj. We listen to our final bhajan by Bahin Lisa.
Shine.